I've released a song every month for the past 64 months, which is 5 years if you didn't know. And within that time frame, I've gotten over 9 million streams on those songs. And so chances are that you also want to release more music, but you can't find the motivation, inspiration, or your songs just don't sound good enough to release yet. And so I'll fix your brain using 3 scientifically backed methods. And by the end of this video, you'll know my methods for finishing songs, even when I have no motivation or inspiration. And so the main problem that a lot of my clients face is that they want to make more music. They want to release more music. And honestly, you should be. The more music that you release, the more chances you get on the dartboard. I mean, if you think of every song as a dart and the music industry, I guess, as the dartboard, you throw the dart and there's a chance of hitting the bullseye. Now, if you had 100 darts, you get 100 chances at that bullseye. But if you only have 1 dart, only 1 chance. So if you're not releasing music, how are you going to get more chances to push you forward in your music career? So have you ever had an assignment back in high school that you had put off till the day it was due? For example, I've done this a lot of times. Maybe an assignment was due on Thursday and I spent all of Wednesday night preparing for it rather than just doing it earlier. I think most people are in this kind of mindset, and this is called Parkinson's Law, which basically just says work expands as to fill the time available for its completion. All this really means is that if you have a week to do something, it'll likely take you that entire week to do it. If you have 2 weeks to do something, it'll take you those entire 2 weeks. If you have a year to do something, the whole year, and then so on and so forth. And so I decided I would start making deadlines for myself when it came to my music. So back in 2020, September 2020 specifically, I started releasing a song every month on the 25th. And so what does that mean for you? Make yourself a monthly release schedule that you actually stick to no matter what. Because what this is going to do is going to force you to release a song. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to release a song every month on the 25th like I do. But if you chose the last Friday of every month or maybe the first Friday of every month, what that's going to do is going to let people know that this is the day that you release music. So there's an expectation, there's that pressure, and then you get to actually make and release more music. Now, I can already hear your thoughts. You're thinking, but Adriel, the quality of my music, if I'm just focused on putting out songs all the time, the quality is going to diminish and then my songs are going to suck and then people are going to think that I suck. This is exactly why you actually need to release on a consistent basis, because think about it. When you're first starting off, and I know for me, this was super true, I thought that my music was great. And then now listening back to my old music, it sucked. Those first few songs, no matter what you try to do, are going to suck. Now, to even bring this point home forward even more, I journal almost every single day. And so I have this journal, I have this pen, but a problem I was running into was that I was starting to get cramped in my hand every single day. If I was journaling, there would be this cramp, and eventually that could turn into carpal tunnel. So I thought to myself, there has to be a better way to be writing. And I found that there's something called the Palmer method that uses a lot more of your arm muscles rather than your wrist muscles. And so I started learning that method. The problem is that this is an entirely new method of writing. And because of that, I didn't know how to use my muscles right. So my handwriting started to look really, really bad. And now I like the look of my journal on the inside. It's pretty aesthetic. And with my handwriting starting to look bad, I was afraid I was going to mess up the aesthetic of it. But the thing is, I knew that if I wanted my handwriting to improve, I had to practice every single day. So with my regular journaling prompts, I was practicing this new method. And so this is the exact same thing for your music. Blind repetition does not mean improvement, but if you're focused on repeating a task with feedback, then you're going to get improvement. And so what does that mean you should do to keep improving your quality? Focus on improving at least one thing with every new release. Now, let's say this new song is coming up and you want to improve the EQ because the last song's vocal was really bad. This time you're going to be experimenting with the EQ. And then next time, maybe you're experimenting with the drums. At least if there's at least one thing that you're improving on with every single song, you're going to get better. Your music is going to get better and quality will come as a result. And so I can still hear your thoughts. Just think, but Adriel, I might be improving the songs, but I'm still stressed about coming up with songs and waiting till last minute to release them. Stop that. You don't have to be stressed about it. So to give you another example, let's say I give you $250 for food for an entire week. And I say that this is the only money you can spend on food. You can't spend any more or any less of this money. Are you going to spend that $250 on a meal on Monday? Probably not. It's not the smartest thing to do if you're trying to survive that week. And so you're going to spread that $250 throughout the entire week so that you can eat every single day. So just as there are smart ways to budget your money, there are smart ways to budget your time that nobody talks about. And so I used to make to-do lists to manage my time, and it wasn't really the best method. I would have a bunch of stuff on my list. Some days I would get it all done. Other days I wouldn't get every single thing done. And those days that I didn't get every single thing done, what would happen is that I would feel sad because there'd be empty check boxes. And then those would pile up day after day after day until I just stopped following my calendar altogether because I just couldn't finish my tasks. And so my girlfriend actually gave me the idea that instead of doing checklists, maybe I just set times throughout the day to do things. And now every day from about 4 to 7 p.m., I take time to make music. I don't have a to-do list specifically, just as long as I have a goal in my music and I'm making progress every single day. I later found out that this is actually a scientifically backed method called time blocking. And this is a great way to actually budget your time. And so what does that mean you should do to budget your time? Lay out your entire day. Choose a specific amount of time to work on music. And during that time, you're doing nothing else but make music. And so, for example, if you work from 9 to 5, you come home at 5 o'clock, you make dinner, and then you eat at 6, maybe from 7 to 8, you're making music. And so the reason for this is because we're not trying to do specifically all these different to-dos, but just get into the habit of making music every single day. Because if you think about it, if you're doing 1 hour of music every single day, that's 7 hours in a week and about 28 hours in a month. And you're telling me that if you're spending 28 hours on a song, you're not going to be able to finish a song? Odds are you probably will finish a song within that time. And so as long as you're making progress, it'll compound. And so ultimately, making music isn't about inspiration or motivation, but it's about discipline. And if you keep showing up for your music, even on days when you don't feel like it, you will make progress in your music career and your music production skills. So if you're looking for someone to help you make progress in your music skills even faster, apply to work with me one-on-one in the link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't be afraid to show your genius.